Welcome back to NJR News. I'm your host, NJ Ranger 201, and in today's segment, we're going to be covering the rather eccentric mayor of Megacity 1, also known as New York, Mayor Eric Adams. I'm going to apologize in advance to our domestic audience, who are probably already well acquainted with this man and his shenanigans. This profile is meant to be a kind of broad strokes primer on what makes him such a Pagliacci tier clown. His air of kind of, where do I even start, precludes this from being a full summary of his antics, but I figured we should start with then State Senator Eric Adams and this totally cool and normal instructional video on how to search for drugs and crap in your kid's room like a parental stick-up boy.
When a person was shot doors from my house, I realized how important my crusade is of removing illegal handguns off the streets of New York. Hi, I'm New York State Senator Eric Adams, and for 22 years I wore a bulletproof vest.
So the reason why I paused on this frame is not to highlight the common rarity chest armor that he's holding up, or the fact that then State Senator Eric Adams was a little bit huskier, and that's okay. I think that I was at this time too, so that's all good, and we don't like body shaming. But that dirt stash is bad. Again, this is not a political statement, but come on now, bro. You gotta, at that point, just, shave. Now I understand why he doesn't have it anymore. Anyway.
And stood on the street corners and protected children and families in the city of New York. I'm asking you to join me in this crusade of removing illegal handguns off our streets and out of our homes. Please come and join me inside my house as I show you how simple items such as bamboo paper can be an indicator of marijuana use.
Real veil-parting revelation of info from State Senator Adams. It's not like Biggie Smalls in 1994 was talking about smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on private stock, right? Way back when I had the red and black lumberjack with the hat to match.
Or a cut of straw can be an indicator of using cocaine. I will show you how to search a room to ensure that you remove illegal handguns and other contraband from your home.
I'm sorry if I'm biting Sam Cedar here with the pause button, but notice how in, I don't know how many seconds, we're not a minute into this thing, maybe we're a minute, I don't know. But notice the mission creep of what started off as we're trying to stop gun violence. Now we're also doing drug stuff. We're a minute in, and we're already overstepping what the original intention was. Just a little, just one more thing, as Columbo would say.
What I would like to show here is to empower parents on how to search a room inside their home. It's imperative that you should know what's inside your household. And no one can state that you can't search a room in your own home. You write the Constitution. There are no First Amendment rights inside your household.
Here we see a parental rights advocate, State Senator Eric Adams, doing like a sovereign citizen bit that there's no constitutional rights within your home, which is weird because the Third Amendment is literally all about your home. The Third Amendment, one of the more random ones, forbids the government from quartering troops in your house without consent. So if there are no constitutional rights within your own home, then the government can just save a shit ton of base housing and barrack all the troops in your bonus room or some shit.
It is your obligation and responsibility not only to protect the child that may be using an illegal drug or carrying an illegal gun, but you also have to protect the members of the household, their younger brothers and younger sisters, and the other elder members of the household.
And by the way, what the hell are we doing with these melancholy-ass strings in the background? Like, this is supposed to be a helpful thing, a hopeful thing. We're stopping drugs and gun violence by rifling through our kids' crap. What is with the sad sack shit? Come on.
So by periodically sending a message to your home that there are no rooms off limits, you don't believe in locked doors, your house is open to inspection by your house and the members of your house, The message is you expect your children to do what's right, but you always have to inspect what you expect. And that's the key to providing some preventive safety. So if you come to a room like this, you can start out, I always recommend to start out in a periodic fashion so you'll be used to going through the room to look at the various items in the room.
What you just heard is a quintessential example of cop talk, what cops refer to as active speech, which is gaslighting, because it's anything but. It's thesaurus, word salad, misapplied adjectives and stuff like that, damn near always overwrought, and often using the passive voice. They had presently at this time ascertained that we are going to search the locus of the room at this time.
You can look in the jewelry box. A jewelry box of this nature, maybe a simple jewelry box, but if you look through it closely, you don't know what your child may be hiding. For instance, a gun could be hidden, a small caliber weapon could be hidden inside a jewelry box. Look at the various colognes and perfumes and photos and pictures. You should always, when your child brings in his popular knapsack with many different locations, look through it to see what exactly is your child carrying in addition to a book. Something simple as a crack pipe, a used crack pipe. Could he have found it on the street? That's quite possible. But this is a discussion piece where you should start speaking with him to find out what is he doing with it.
Could they have obtained this random dirty crack pipe on the street? A likely story. Could it be their random dirty crack pipe? Also likely.
And the whole use of drugs. This invokes conversations. Look at picture frames and behind them, cameras. Try to determine what's taking place. Behind a picture frame, you can find bullets. What does that mean to find bullets? Does it mean your child is carrying a gun? No. Where there's smoke, there's possible fire. Where there's a bullet, there's possibly a gun. You should engage in the conversation and find out what are they doing with the item, and this empowers the parents. Look at all the items inside the room and feel around and see what's the possibility. Something simple as a baby doll. Could be just a baby doll, but also it could be a place where you can secrete or hide drugs.
Something as innocuous as a random baby doll from the pre-2000s era could also be a stash for somebody's random oregano bag.
Run your hands over the pillows and see if you feel anything that's unusual. Like a pillow like this where the button is a perfect invitation to hide something. And I felt something bumpy. I would reach in, see what it is. This one could be hidden inside a pillow, a gun. Maybe something that you'll think that can't be hidden there, but it can. And what happens not only when the person who is carrying this illegal gun is in possession of it, but also a child that comes into the room and plays on the bed, they find this gun. Let me tell you what a child would do. A child would take this gun, and because the trigger pull is so hard, they normally take the gun and they point it in their direction to pull down on it. So many gun accidents take place merely because a child discovers a gun in the room and believes it's a toy and they play with the gun. Just look and see what's inside your bookcases. It could be more than just books. Perfect place to hide cocaine or other illegal substance inside the room. My message to you, you have an obligation to protect your home. The First Amendment does not apply to the right of parents to go through their homes to remove contraband or any other unsafe item. There are no First Amendment rights in your home. You have a duty and obligation to protect the members of your household.
Nice. Let's cap it off with another fuck the Constitution. You can do whatever the fuck. They're your kids. They're essentially your property. Totally chill and normal stuff to say. Now, I want to be mindful that we all have cringe stuff in our past. Most of us do. So it's hard to fault him to a certain extent, especially considering that this is years ago. Surely he has gotten better in that ensuing time, right? Let's flash forward a little bit to after he won New York's first ranked choice voting primary that most people didn't understand how it worked because the instructions were very poorly explained to them. So he is in the mayoral debate against Curtis Sliwa, who is, makes Eric Adams look non-eccentric He's the founder and chief beret in charge of the Guardian Angels that have their own gross and weird history. And during this debate, I was struck by a couple of things. The first main takeaway was how, on examples such as the Gifted and Talented program that we're about to watch, Curtis Sliwa sounded very, very stunningly coherent and whatever, just not off the rails for a dude that, again, wears a red beret everywhere. And you might say, hey, Ranger, but don't you depict yourself as wearing a red beret? That's not the point. That's not the point at all, okay? So enough, okay? The question is going to be posed to them that in light of then Mayor de Blasio, aka Mayor de Big Bird, his plan to close down the New York City public school system's Gifted and Talented program, what would you do differently? Would you do the same thing? Would you do it different? Whatever. And I watched this debate live. I was stunned by how on the money and how rare W Curtis Sliwa's response was, as juxtaposed to the all over the place word salad of would-be at that time Eric Adams. Further, another aspect that really bugged me in this debate was, and yeah, okay, with the rare exception of Bloomberg, who happened to be an independently wealthy billionaire who is the Bloomberg of Bloomberg News, Bloomberg Terminal, all that kind of stuff, you're generally not going to get a Republican mayor in New York. This time, running Curtis Sliwa, the fact that he was the nominee should show you how snowball's chance in hell it is. But with that understanding, which I'm sure Eric Adams knew, he has this fucking entitlement. Like, why do I even have to show up for this? We all know that he's not going to win, that I'm going to be the mayor. And actually, this is beneath me to say, bro, you're going to be the mayor of the biggest city in the country. It's one fucking debate. Can't you man up and not act like, I find this debate to be rather shallow and pedantic?
Thank you, Bill. Gentlemen, we're going to talk about education, something of real concern to parents. We'll start with you, Mr. Sliwa. Mayor de Blasio announced plans to phase out Gifted and Talented program and replace it with something called Brilliant NYC, which is basically a program to train teachers, focus on teacher training. But the reality is that although the majority of the students of the largest district in the nation are Blacks and Hispanics, their participation is less than a quarter in the program. Do you agree with Gifted and Talented? Would you keep it, sir?
I have a personal experience in that both of my youngest sons attempted to get into Gifted and Talented in Queens. There are about 65,000 children in kindergarten, only 2,500 available slots. I would expand the number of Gifted and Talented opportunities, especially in the inner city. I don't care if only 3 or 4 take the test and qualify. There should be Gifted and Talented in every school. And children who qualify, whether they're Black or Hispanic or white or Asian or Southeast Asian, should be given that opportunity. But there's blowback now because Asians and Southeast Asians are doing so well. They beat out my 2 youngest sons for Gifted and Talented. They deserved it. There should be more Gifted and Talented slots so others, like my youngest sons and other sons and daughters, can have that same opportunity. We can do it. We can expand Gifted and Talented.
Mr. Adams, would you expand it as well? Would you keep the current Gifted and Talented?
When it comes down to this topic, it's not only professional, it's personal. You know, I talked about it all the time, sitting inside a classroom with a learning disability, discovering it once I got to college. That's the failure. If we don't educate, we will incarcerate. I would not only expand the program, I would also have parents, their children to opt out of taking the test. This way, we would catch all the children who are capable of being gifted and talented. But also, let's also focus on those children that learn differently. those who have learning disabilities, dyslexia. Let's make sure we provide educational opportunities for them. I would do universal screening for dyslexia and give the support where it is needed. And we must redefine education in our system, not only from K through 12, but from pregnancy through profession. That is how we educate in the 21st century. And I'm excited about what we could do with gifted and talented. And not only an exam is a gift and talent, let's look at all ways our children are gifted and talented.
Not even going to show the part where later in the debate, Eric Adams panics supers and makes some joke to Curtis Sliwa like, oh yeah, at least I'm not a single dude in his whatever 50s, 60s that lives at home with a bunch of cats. Like, bro, you have to, that's like, okay, whatever, it's a silver bullet. The fact that as a Democrat running for mayor of New York City against this a dude weirder, more eccentric than you, the fact that you have to resort to this crap is, it's a panic super. Something in the video game trades that oh no, I'm getting shot, I'm gonna pop my super. And oh yeah, okay, so you beat this dude. You realize that he was at like low health anyway. You could have just turned around, even with your sidearm, and got this man. But no, you wasted your super, which shows how shitty of a player you are. So okay, he wins election, very good, very great. Let's fast forward a little bit to some of the big brain takes that he had in the lead up to his taking office. So this man, as we heard at the top of the segment, hates gun violence, but he was talking big that once he takes office, he's going to be strapped up all the time. This man's going to carry a gun on him. In New York City, it's very difficult to get a concealed carry permit. That's good. Good. I got no problem with that. But this man, who already we know is going to have a shit ton of security around him, he felt the need to pop off about that and then quickly retracted his statement. So that's good. Another banger from the genius mayor-elect Adams was that, you know what we should teach in schools? Crypto. That's something good and normal to teach in schools. Real common sense, no nonsense government stuff. New York school system, which is doing fine, not underfunded, not understaffed. You know what we should be spending more time on? Is crypto crap. Very, very good. So it's time for him to take office. And the Omicron variant of COVID is popping off in the tri-state area. And after getting rightfully shit on for attempting to go through with his big mayoral pop-off, the inauguration, he was going to do it inside at a time when we were telling people, hey, you know what's not a great idea? Getting a shit ton of people packed inside and just breathing on each other. So how does the humble mayor-elect, still at that time, pivot to his new plan? Oh, I know what we can do. I can do my inauguration on New Year's Eve at Times Square. Get it? We're perfectly outside. And no, how dare you say that that's a self-aggrandizing glom on to New Year's Eve? That's shameful. Why would you even say that? Probably the largest single issue that slid this man into power as mayor was crime hysteria, which, as a dude who was in law enforcement for 30 years, as he told us earlier, he of all people should understand that crime now, irregardless, as we say, of the spike in crime nationwide during the pandemic itself, crime in New York City now has nothing to do with the levels of crime, even at the early 2000s, let alone the 90s and the 80s. So for him to make this such a big issue, maybe not so good, especially when you should theoretically know better. And this has had ripple effects, not only in feeding the Fox News hype machine, New York Scary and Bad, but also it impacted the New York gubernatorial election, in which Kathy Hochul, who, again, if she was on fire, I may not cross the street to piss on her, folks. That's just how it is. It's just how it is. But Kathy Hochul got primaried from the right, from this Long Island asshole, Tom Suozzi, who, fun fact, is partially responsible for the rise of George Santos because he, again, complacent, I'm the king of the world, his campaign declined to do any opposition research on George Santos. Opposition research, which, could have revealed that he's the funniest criminal in the world and has a rap sheet that's like a CVS receipt. Come on now. So all this crime hysteria fed right into the narrative, and unfortunately, even nationwide politics is being affected by him as a mouthpiece for this, which really more unfortunately, it's not even going to be the first time. It's many such cases, as a wise man once said. Now that the crime rate in New York City is below where it was during the pandemic, over the past consecutive 3 years, the NYPD's overtime budget has been doubling each year. So you would expect that the drop in crime would be commensurate, right? It would be like half as much and then half and then no, it's not. It's not. So that's good. That's great. No problems there. Now you might say, NJ, there's always going to be money in the banana stand. The overtime budget doesn't come at the expense of other stuff, which, yeah, in a technical sense, maybe. But once you see how Mayor Adams tends to blame other stuff for why we can't spend money on, I'm not even saying extravagances, necessary stuff, then you might be swayed to the point of view that, hey, we're peeing away all this money on crap, and also we're taking away basic services such as the library. And by the way, when the Post is saying that your budget cuts are bullshit, it's one of those stop, do not pass go, do not collect $200 things. When you are in that position where the Post has the W take and you are the L take, that should be a self-reflection moment, I think. But they were completely right about this. Eric Adams cynically using the already manufactured migrant crisis. You can't just ship people in buses or fly them up on planes from the border or from wherever the fuck you find them and act like this is, and then turn around and be like, oh wow, look at all those scary migrants in New York City. Like, bro, you're literally kidnapping them and trafficking them up here. But Eric Adams, as my old man would say, never misses an opportunity to miss an opportunity. And the really big brain time, this is perfect. We can kill two birds with one stone. We can blame the scary migrants and those evil Republican governors. We can blame them for why the library's got to be closed on Sunday now. 200 IQ play. So he ended up overestimating the potential impact of the migrants on the New York City budget by a factor of a shit ton, way more than it actually has been. And for this reason, he was kind of shamed into going back on some of these dick around budget cuts because, oh, spoiler alert, we do have the money, and this was just a dumbass, cynical little excuse to do the shit that you wanted to do anyway. While we're on the subject of this man's creative finances, if you got stories in Politico about, hey, it's really weird that you're always going to Turkish-themed or Turkey-centric pop-offs, it's a little weird. Again, it's not me, folks, that's investigating this. It's Politico, okay? It's a very strong periodical, okay? Also on that score, one of his, allies, confidants, is a guy with the moniker of the Bling Bishop, who was allegedly robbed of his nice watch and chains and stuff like that on a live stream while he was giving a sermon. Fast forward to now, you'll see that this guy, Lamar Whitehead, was convicted of fraud. And also, going back to the robbery that I alluded to, the more conspiratorial-minded amongst us thought that this was, as we say in the business, an inside job. I don't know, I'm just asking questions. And by the way, here's him pictured in a suit that would make old school pimps be like, come on, that's garish. Nobody should leave the house looking like that. Now, Father Scammy Davis Jr. over here is actually a great segue into another fascinating aspect of Mayor Adams' life. He is a man of profound faith. Now, you might ask me, NJ, how does that come up in the nation's largest city, which is known for being a bastion of liberalism, if not leftism? First of all, great question. The answer is that he shoehorns the shit into everything and will come up with sound bites that are right at home in the mouth of a mouth-breather Republican congresswoman like Lauren Boebert, that separation of church and state is dumb, or Sarah Huckabee Sanders, that, gun violence comes from we don't have prayer in schools anymore. So that's just another interesting wrinkle in the tapestry that is Mayor Adams.
Mayor Adams gives a rousing speech on mixing religion and politics.
CBS 2 political reporter Marcia Kramer tells us, while some people agree, for others, the mayor touched a nerve.
When we took prayers out of schools, guns came into schools.
And he was off and running. Mayor Adams sermonizing at an interfaith breakfast about the importance of beliefs, all beliefs, in dealing with the ills facing the city.
We've become so hip, so cool, so Instagram-ish, so Facebook-ish, so Twitter-ish, that we have TikTok our way out of the humanity that we've always known.
But it was when he was talking about his own strong beliefs that the mayor ran into the buzzsaw of political correctness.
Don't tell me about no separation of church and state. State is the body, church is the heart. You take the heart out of the body dies. I can't separate my belief because I'm an elected official.
That prompted an immediate response from NYCLU Executive Director Donna Lieberman, who took him to task. It is odd that Mayor Adams would need a refresher on the First Amendment, Lieberman said. After all, he has sworn to uphold the Constitution more than once, first as a police officer, later as a state representative, and then last year on becoming mayor. The very opening passage of the Bill of Rights makes clear that church and state must be separate. The mayor's press secretary defended his boss. The policies we make as an administration are rooted in the mayor's belief in the Creator. The mayor personally believes all of our faiths would ensure we are humane to one another. While everyone in the room immediately understood what the mayor meant, it's unfortunate that some have attempted to hijack the narrative in an effort to misrepresent the mayor's comments. The mayor also received incoming from some of his left-wing critics who accused him of advancing right-wing Christian talking points. I'm Marcia Kramer, CBS 2 News.
His habit of boy who cried wolf, hyping shit up unnecessarily, isn't just limited to the, rampant crime in New York City. His Migrant Crisis commentary has enabled the right wing of the country and the right wing of the Democrats to say, see, I knew it all along. If even the mayor of New York City can admit that there's a problem. And then so you see this man down on the border doing the little Elon tour. Oh, wow, I'm up near the fence. Wow, it's bad down here. We got to do something about it. And then he has the nerve to turn around when his numbers are in the toilet, lower than any mayor in New York City's history from the time that they start recording polling numbers for the mayor, favorability. This ends up being a shit sandwich that he tries to weasel his way out of. No, it's not that bad. People are lying, saying that it's bad and scary. Bro, you're lying, saying that it's bad and scary. This all came to somewhat of a crescendo when he was just about to go on a field trip down to D.C. to have a big important meeting with President Sleepy, And whoops, what's this? A high-ranking staffer of his has her shit raided by the FBI. Oh no, and the phone confiscated. Oh, and that means he can't go on the field trip? No, no. But what about the migrant crisis? No.
So Mayor Adams is absent from a meeting in D.C. today with mayors from other big sanctuary cities. The mayor abruptly canceling shortly before the meeting to discuss the asylum seeker crisis was set to begin. CBS News' Lisa Rosner live in D.C. with what we know. Lisa, big no-show here.
Yeah, Chris, the mayor did post a video this morning of him on a plane, but all we're told as to why he turned around is that he had to deal with a matter. The White House says his staffers are still here, and collectively, this group of mayors, they are asking for an additional $5 billion in funding as they scramble to find more space for new arrivals. At the White House Thursday morning, the mayors of Denver and Chicago joined other mayors to meet with the White House Chief of Staff and the Director of Intergovernmental Affairs to discuss the impact of the asylum seeker crisis.
Now, here at NJR News, we believe in giving credit where credit's due, and also, why not give honest compliments rather than bullshitting somebody? Oh, yeah, your hair looks really nice. Their hair doesn't look nice. Come on now. Why don't you just wear, oh, wow, that's a nice bracelet. Something they actually do mean, and it will come across as genuine. In the spirit of that, we got to hand it to this lady because she's got an incredible tri-state area name. Her first name, or what that she goes by, is Winnie. Classic Chinese lady name. We love to see it. Her last name is Greco, an Italian name that means Greek in Italian. So again, zero sarcasm, cynicism, whatever. I fuck with that immensely. It shows what an awesome melting pot this area is. Anyway, now to both round off the more serious portion of our coverage and also to bring this story as close to up-to-date as possible as of, yesterday, day before yesterday. Mayor Adams is now one of a group that I like to term the Allegations Boyz. The Allegations Boyz including Harvey Weinstein, Donald Trump, P. Diddy, a more recent addition, and other obvious figures that you can think of in your head. This story is still developing, obviously, but this is what this man, not that it's what he's up to, but this is the most recent headline that includes the esteemed mayor.
We are hearing today for the first time from Mayor Adams about a bombshell new lawsuit detailing an alleged sexual assault dating back more than 30 years. Adams insists the assault never happened, and he says it won't impact how he runs the city. Eyewitness News reporter NJ Bergen live this afternoon at City Hall with more. NJ?
By the way, this guy's name is NJ, my man.
You're right, Sandra. The mayor was adamant about that. But to be clear, the lawsuit was not unexpected. Attorneys for the accuser put the mayor and the city on notice late last year. But it does add to the many challenges the mayor faces and the multiple questions he must now answer.
This did not happen. It did not happen. I don't recall ever meeting this person during my time in the police department.
Mayor Adams faced the questions head on, flatly denying an allegation of sexual assault that goes back 31 years to when Adams was a police officer. A lawsuit filed by a civilian employee accuses Adams of sexually assaulting her after she rejected his advances back in 1993. The accuser, Lorna Beach Mathura, declined to be interviewed and has filed multiple unrelated and unsuccessful lawsuits in the past.
My life has been a clear, open book for almost 40 years now. I have been one of the most public faces in the city, and I have always carried myself with the level of dignity that New Yorkers expect from me.
The message that he can continue to run the city despite the lawsuit and despite a series of investigations into his campaign fundraising. 4 people charged last year with running a straw donor scheme. A Long Island businessman pleaded guilty yesterday to similar allegations. Mayor Adams acknowledged meeting the man, Hui Quinn.
He's one of those people who I've met while on the campaign trail. The thousands upon thousands of people that I interacted with from different walks of life.
Last fall, FBI agents raided the home of his chief fundraiser, part of a federal investigation into whether the campaign received illegal contributions from citizens and government officials in Turkey. Authorities are investigating whether Adams, then the Brooklyn borough president, played a role in fast-tracking a certificate of occupancy for the Turkish consulate. The mayor has not been charged with any wrongdoing and has denied knowledge of any improper contributions. And he insisted today that he's confident that none of it will overshadow the accomplishments of his administration.
I want to say to New Yorkers, I'm going to continue to do my job of navigating the city out of the crisis that we have been in, just as we navigated out of COVID, the asylum seeker crisis, public safety, housing crisis. I'm focused on doing that.
And he used the word focused multiple times, more than a dozen times, at his press event here at City Hall today. As for the lawsuit, the mayor is being defended by the city's Corporation Counsel, who refused to comment on any of the specific allegations in that lawsuit.
Now, both as a palate cleanser compared to the north half of this segment, and also hopefully as a little reward to those of you in the audience who stuck this far into the broadcast, we're going to go over a couple of clips of Eric Adams acting like an ass clown. The first of which, from 4th of July 2022, it comes from a tweet of his where he's on a jet ski for the first time. He's like a pro, folks. It's like I invented the jet ski. And further, he adds, maybe I'm going to work this into my commute going to work every day. So that's cool and normal. Let's roll the tape. Now I'm going to chime in with a little inside baseball for those of you not from the tri-state area. The phrase to jet ski money, to jet ski away money, is a slang expression that means to pee away money, spend it completely frivolously, and usually money that you are embezzling. It's usually ill-gotten gains. So because, again, it was not earned legitimately, you don't know the quote-unquote value of a dollar from it. Yeah, I'll buy a jet ski. Oh, yeah, and then I'll zoom around on I'll be a jet ski guy. So the fact that he was using this method of vehicular conveyance, see, I can do cop talk too. This method of vehicular conveyance was a kind of, it was like a little chef's kiss snow globe, a little extra bonus for those of us who know that as a slang idiom. And now for the final clip of this installment of NJR News, we're going to let the mayor, one, wrap up, summarize 2023 in a pithy, definitely one-word answer. And in doing so, he's also going to list the reasons why he loves New York City and why it's so special. So take it away, Mayor Adams.
But when you look at the totality of the year, if you had to describe it, and it's tough to do, in one word, what would that word be, and tell me why?
New York. This is a place where every day you wake up, you could experience everything from a plane crashing into our trade center to a person who's celebrating a new business that's open.
So there you have it, folks. 2023 summed up in one word, New York. And further, what makes New York so unique, so special, so complex? Any given day, you could see a 9/11 happen, bad, or you could see a business open, good. It's as if he's some kind of alien scammer who just fell to Earth and did zero background research, so he's Wikipediaing in the elevator and repeating to himself, New York, 9/11, big business, big business. It is literally the only other way that you could explain that. Okay, now that I've already wasted well enough of your time on this, as we would say around here, maroon, I just want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you next time on the next installment of NJR News. Thank you, and have a good night, day, whatever it is. Make it good and have a good. Love you guys.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Splash, good kill.
Pause it for 1 second.